What's up, guys? John here again. Today we're going to start working on the Evo 4. Start with some of the more simpler stuff like the spark plugs and wires and the air filter and things like that. It's starting to get kind of late here, so I probably won't do a whole lot today. A couple things I forgot to mention in the last video. While I was in Japan, I did have endless brakes and slotted rotors put on, just because, and also the calipers rebuilt because the technician over there mentioned that the brakes were pretty bad. So it was sitting over there waiting on the boat and in the body shop. So brake pads and rotors for this car are actually kind of a pain to find in the US, at least good ones. So I took the opportunity to have them do it over there. It was pretty much just a cost. So it was, I mean, cost of parts. So it wasn't really a big investment for me to do that. I do have Evo 8 Brembo calipers for all four corners that will be going in at a later time. The 16-inch factory wheels don't clear them, sorry. So we wait until I get new wheels for that and suspension and whatnot. But the other thing I forgot to mention is it looks like it's hard to see, but all the AV equipment was run through the factory speaker locations, and they just kind of like removed the speakers and didn't really put anything there. It's kind of ghetto. So I actually don't know how this speaker's set up. It looks like it goes into the trunk, so I don't know how the speaker set is supposed to look. So if you have pictures or any info on what's supposed to be here, so I can try to source some, that would be awesome. So yeah, today we're gonna do the spark plug, basically all the stuff in the engine bay, the spark plugs and wires. Probably start with the air filter, and maybe if we have time, get to the fuel filter as well. I do apologize for the poor lighting in the garage. I haven't gotten great like LED lights for the ceiling or anything yet. Hopefully those will happen soon, so I get better lighting in here. But I have the spotlight and the overhead light in here, which hopefully that's enough. But yeah, let's do it. Oh shit, what the fuck? Well, that's not good. Damn it. Well, I guess I gotta get a new airbox now. That sucks. Well, fuck. So when I went to clip on this other thing, I think it might have been already broken a little bit, because when I undid it, it came off like completely, which this one didn't. But when I tried to put it back on and close the clip here, it just ripped this right off. So yeah, if anyone's got an airbox, hit me up. This is shitty. All right, I had to struggle with that a bit. Man, what a nightmare. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find an airbox for this. I might just have to upgrade to an aftermarket intake, but I am going with a Haltech ECU here in the near future, at which point I'll get rid of this MAF, max airflow sensor, and convert it to a manifold absolute pressure sensor. So that'll make running a factory intake a little easier. Let's move on to the spark plugs. So, ran into our first issue here. So the spark plugs that are in this thing are not, you know, your standard size. Obviously, most of our spark plugs are 5/8 here. 5/8 is a not metric, right? So it's an imperial unit. So I need to figure out what size the spark plug is so I can get a socket for it, and hope that my local parts store has one. So yeah, I'll go do that bit of research and run to the parts store and get whatever I need, and then get back to you guys. All right, so I'm back. I got the socket we needed. I just confirmed it does fit. So yeah, let's get back to it. These things have seen better days. All right, so the camera battery died while I was doing the spark plugs. I did get them installed, as well as the plug wires. The engine is all buttoned up again, as you can see. Everything's in there. I should have probably taken this video before I put the spark plug cover back on, but I do have the battery back in with the tender on there. It's probably going to take overnight to do that, so we'll check back in the morning and we will see about the smoke issue. What's up, guys? John here again, back with the Evo project. Today we're going to be starting it up and see where the smoke is coming from, so let's get to it. I don't see the smoke yet. See if it goes up soon. It might have just been something burning off, but it's definitely running rich. Like, it smells like fuel, something fierce. I do see that the lower nuts and studs on the exhaust manifold look pretty rusted, so that to me says that at least at some point there was a blown head gasket and water was leaking out there for cooling. I mean, so far it looks alright. I do smell like it does have a burning oil or maybe coolant or something. Let's give it some revs. Whew, holy shit. So rich. Well, that's interesting. When you rev it, the RPMs take a bit to settle down. I guess it hasn't really had a chance to warm up yet, so we'll check back in about 10 minutes after it gets up to temp, and we'll see how it's going. All right. So I stuttered up, and I see a little tiny bit of smoke coming from like down here, but I don't see any leaks or anything. I don't see any signs. It might just be something burning off at some point. Like maybe there's an oil leak before, or a coolant leak before they sold it. I don't know. The water here is from the outside, sitting in the garage. Yeah, I don't see any sign, and the smoke definitely isn't like it was before. Like, it's very, very faint now. When I got it running, let it run for a while, the idle was extremely high. It was like 2,000 RPM for some reason. So I lowered that back down to just under 1,000, and she runs pretty well. She revs pretty well and everything. So I'm going to take this thing for a drive and see how it does, and I'll check out if you guys afterwards. Yo, this thing is fast. It drives really well. Like, there's no issue. There's no weird sounds. There's no stuttering. I mean, it's extremely smooth. The clutch is a little too smooth for my liking, and it releases extremely high. So I'm gonna see if I can adjust that. But I might actually put a stiffer clutch in here, because the way it is right now, it's almost impossible to feel exactly where the clutch is releasing. So it's kind of a pain to drive there. It's funny, a clutch can be too soft. Now that I get out of the car, there's definitely the smell of like burning oil or something. Something's burning under there, but I looked under the car and there's no leaks whatsoever. So I don't know, and I couldn't see anything under the hood. So I don't know what that is. Doesn't seem to be an issue while driving though. So I'm gonna put it off for now and start doing the rest of the maintenance stuff. I guess I should probably sit down and talk about what's going on with this build. So right now I'm just kind of doing a refresh, getting everything situated with like all the maintenance items, new tires. I forgot to mention that there is new brakes on this thing. The calipers were rebuilt, and there's endless pads and rotors. The brakes the pads rather are currently not bed, so I'll need to bed those, do the whole 80/20 thing. I do need to get the title for the car from the DMV and get it registered, and then set up insurance on it and all that before I can really start driving it more regularly. But once the refresh is done, my overall goal for this build is sort of an OEM plus kind of build. So, wheels, suspension, coilovers mainly. I may do lower control arms. I don't know. It depends if I can get enough camber with the factory lower control arms. And if I do use the factory ones, I'm going to be powder coating all that stuff down there. I want it to look nice and clean, and I don't want rust to be getting in there if it's not already. So I'm going to clean those up and powder coat them. I do have a set of Brembo calipers, brake calipers from the Evo 8 that I'm going to be installing once I upgrade the wheels, because they don't fit with the 60-inch wheels. So I'll be doing the coilovers, brakes, and wheels all at the same time, really. I think I'm going to leave, so the hood is a steel hood rather than aluminum, so it is kind of heavy, but I think for now I'm going to leave it OEM. In the future I may do a carbon fiber hood, but I don't really know if I'm going to or not. I noticed the headlights were pretty dim, so I'm going to look at replacing those. The glass itself isn't very foggy or anything. As you can see, it's pretty good condition for, I'm fairly certain these were replaced at some point in the past. I might do a small buff or slight buff on them, but nothing too crazy needs to be done. For performance, I'll probably do either an FP green or maybe like a Tomei Sport Turbo, like something that's just barely a step up from factory, because this thing's already pretty fast the way it is, and I'm not planning to track this thing or drag it or anything like that. It's just going to be a fun street car, so I don't think too crazy. I may do like an HKS turbo, maybe would be kind of cool to kind of period correct. And I may do like an HKS intercooler or something, front mount intercooler. The factory front mount intercooler is already pretty freaking large. I don't know if you can see it, but look at the size of this thing. It's massive. And I'm fairly certain that's factory, because all the piping is not like hard piping. It's all the regular like factory hose they do for electrical point piping. Let's see what else. It is getting a Haltech ECU soon. I don't remember if I mentioned that or not. Full standalone, just because the Evo 5 and up has an ECU that can be modified with like EvoScan, which is an open source software. But the 4 does not have that capability. So a popular mod is just to put an Evo 5 ECU in it. But rather than screwing with that, my local tuner knows how to do Link and Haltech for Evos. They recommended Haltech, so I'll be going with that. And really, that's it. I may do an intake now that I broke that intake air box. I'm kind of looking at them. I'm either going to do just like an HKS mushroom filter on the stock intake piping, or just do a full HKS intake on it. I don't know yet. I'm still kind of planning the build out as it goes. The exterior is going to remain mostly stock, other than of course the wheels and drop. Interior also going to stay pretty much how it is. I did order today. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but if you're going to see back here, the rear speakers were removed from this thing. So I'm going to add new speakers in there, and I ordered off of Australian eBay a set of OEM, brand new actually, speaker covers for this thing. So that'll be cool to get those in there. And of course, I need to upgrade the head unit, because that 90s JVC head unit is just not going to cut it in this thing. Other than that, I think we're probably going to call it. It's going to be a very light build, nothing too crazy. As I said, I just want it to run well. Maybe I'd also like to, in the future, drop the subframe and the front and rear subframe, and freshen up the undercarriage by like coating it and powder coating all the suspension bits and replacing some stuff that needs like bushings and whatnot that need replacing. That'll be a nice refresh. I don't plan to build the motor anytime soon, but these things are notorious for crank walk. So it's kind of inevitable that'll happen. So when that happens, I'll probably be sourcing an Evo 8 block that has the 7-bolt crank in it, and or 7-bolt flywheel. And yeah, I'll probably build that and probably just reuse the Evo 4 head. They bolt right up, so it's not a big deal. I mean, if I get a good deal on a long block, I'll probably just do that. But yeah, if I do build it, I'll probably do, forge internals, even though I don't plan on pushing big power. It just, you might as well for reliability. So yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments what you guys think I should do to this thing that I haven't mentioned so far. Again, I'm trying to keep it more OEM plus. I'm not going full race car on this thing. So I don't need, my maximum wheel horsepower is like 300, 350 that I'm going for. So I don't need anything too crazy. Just tell me what you guys think. If any of you are Evo or DSM guys that have messed with them more recently than I have, let me know what's good, what's the best options. And I'll talk to you soon.